Welcome to the Steel Grizzlies channel. Today, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to start out in Hollow Knight. When I first played Hollow Knight, I was sorta lost. The world under Dirtmouth is huge and exploration is key. Finding random boss fights and some that you have to fight no matter what if you want to beat the game. Looking at you, Watcher Knights. I thought to myself, man, if I had known some of these little tips and tricks before I started, I would be way better off. Well, I would definitely be less lost. I do hope that you enjoy my tips and tricks video. Let's jump into it with tip number 1. Don't give up. Yep, that's a tip. I find sometimes you feel you may get into an area and have explored that entire area. Lost and confused, you may want to return to Dirtmouth and call it quits. Don't do it. There are so many hidden areas to find when in each main location. Sometimes, even an entire new location will be opened up after breaking down a fake wall or platforming into a new area. This game can also be very challenging, which can cause some people to say, you know what, this isn't for me. To be fair, the first opening area, Forgotten Crossroads, can tend to be very dull, and the first boss, the False Knight, is not very easy. However, you keep trudging forward, beat that challenging boss, and move to the next area, and boom, you may find a huge green, lush garden, or maybe a honeycomb full of bees. There are so many awesome areas to find, which brings us to the next tip. Make sure to find Cornifer and to help provide you with a map of the area. Each time you come to a new area, you'll find the happy singing little guy jotting away on his maps. He is worth it to talk with and spend that precious geo to open up a map. This will help you with this big world and help you from being lost. You can see he's nearby first by little leaflets that are dropped on the ground, and once you get closer to him, you'll start to hear him humming in the background. If you miss him and explore a new area without getting the map in the previous area, his maps will have been returned to the shop with a Zelda, which brings us to point 3, a helpful tip. Make sure to buy the pens and the quill when you first start out. The main and most important item is the quill, which allows you to make additions to Cornifer's map for areas that he may have missed. Anytime you sit on a new bench, it will update the map with your new information. If you do not have a quill, it will not update. So, get that quill. Also, make sure to purchase the bench and vendor pens. Once you have those, you can see random benches and other vendors that are possibly not located in Dirtmouth. Another very crucial tip is to find and use benches in stagways. I have found some friends get frustrated having to either get put all the way back in Dirtmouth or an area super far away from a boss after dying. Well, Team Cherry was looking out for you, and they're aware of this. They know it's not easy fighting some of these bosses, and sometimes they place benches nearby. Can't find the bench? Well, make sure to first have gotten those bench pins so they pop up on the map. Also, if you get Cornifer's map, it will sometimes show a future bench in an area that you haven't been to yet. Benches not only update your map, but they also restore your health. If you need to use one in a tight spot, or let you save a game so that way you can return to a boss from a closer location, and most importantly, it lets you update your charms. Also, using a stagway can help you fast travel from Dirtmouth after buying new items. That way you can get right back into the thick of it. If you ever see a little toll slot asking you to pay it, it is well worth the geo to have that option to go straight back to an area. However, it is good to backtrack sometimes. Once you get new abilities, you may be able to return to an area you were previously unable to explore. Next, and one of the more important tips is you'll need charms. Charms give your little knight an extra oomph that you never would have had before. The more you play the game and explore, the more unique charms you will find. When you first start playing, you may think, oh, that charm will equip itself, or it's just some sort of passive upgrade. Sadly, it's not, but the charm system is very complex and interesting. Some charms, like Wayward Compass, can be equipped to help you know where you are, which is a great plus for those starting out and still trying to figure out where they are and location to the map. Hint, the map does get very big. Some charms can actually work with each other, while others just seem to not meld together. I recommend opening up the charms page while sitting on a bench. Read what each does, figure out what best fits your playstyle, and as always, it never hurts to try one out and see if you like it. There are charm notches as well that allow you to add more charms to yourself. Make sure to visit vendors or other areas that can be located with boss fights that may drop those charm notches as well. Don't forget to use your special abilities. As we said, charms give you that extra oomph when you may be struggling. Well, you also get additional abilities in this game. One of the first you get is the Vengeful Spirit. You'll find this ability is super useful with getting you out of tight spots or helping with boss fights. Just don't forget to use them. I did, and I definitely regretted it. As when I finally was like, oh yeah, I have that special ability I need to use in the boss fights. Well, those boss fights definitely got a lot easier once I started incorporating the special abilities. However, a negative is that it uses your soul meter, which means you have less options to heal. But if you can hit the enemy more often, you won't have to heal. As the old saying goes, the best defense is a strong offense, which brings us to point 7. Learn to pogo. Pogo, you ask? Well, yes, pogo. It's downward slashing your sword so that you can bounce off spikes as we see here, or bounce off enemies' heads. Sometimes it's the best way to help combat a boss. Just bounce over him, pogo off the little dude's head, and you're safely on the other side. Now, it won't come to you naturally, and it will take practice in order to do this with skill and just a subconscious reaction. As some friends have said to me in the past, just get good. Yes, it filled me with an undying rage and what made me want to punch their lights out, but in their loving, condescending way, it rang some truth, which leads us to the next step. Step 8 is to practice. Honestly, you will not just get good at this game unless you've been playing platformers for multiple hours of your life and for a really long time. This game isn't easy. It's fun and an enthralling world that brings you in. Like I said, the first area is a bit dull, but move out of that area as you won't be in it very long and you'll find whole little worlds in each little location, beautifully hand-drawn, and the music. It draws you in with organs or the clashing of cymbals while you are in a boss fight or just exploring an area. Really, just take time learning attacks. Like the pogo we just discussed. Maybe a boss fight is too tough right now? Well, take a break from it and come back later. Maybe you have a weak nail and need to upgrade. Well, you can do that. And while needing to upgrade your nail, you may require a certain piece of material you don't have yet, which means you need to go find it. In that process of exploration, you get more practice. Make sure to come back to that boss fight though, as you do not want to lose their patterns. Just make sure to take a breath, relax, and breathe. This game can be frustrating sometimes, whether on a boss you just can't seem to beat, or the area you want to go to is just out of reach. Remember, this game is all how you handle it, so an area may be out of reach due to not having the correct ability, which means you need to go find it. And as I said, some bosses are super hard and require you to be stronger. A good tip involving practice, and I found is one of the most helpful tips, and I was told by a fellow Hollow Knight player, and that is to not get greedy. What does that mean? Well, say you're fighting a boss and they take off 2 of your health. Your instinct would be to instantly try to sit and heal those 2 missing health. Well, in that time frame, you may get hit by this boss who will literally pounce on you. Make sure to take the time, heal once, and move. Then try to slash, and then rinse and repeat that process till you get that practice down and also your health back up. With practice, you'll find yourself going back to previous bosses and saying, well, this was a lot easier than I remember. But now starting out, it's a challenge, which brings us to step 9. This step is more outside of Hollow Knight. That is, I recommend that you don't use any online guides or walkthroughs. Why? Well, besides what I've offered here, it's basically just some generic information that will not give away any story. You want to find and explore on your own, learn the story on your own, as you may struggle on that boss for a few hours, and yes, it can take a few hours, but once you beat them without looking up any tips, there is that euphoric sense of, wow, I did that all by myself. Plus, sometimes when looking up how to beat something or where to find something, you may find you missed a whole area that spoils the delight of finding it yourself. If you're stuck and don't know what to do, if you have found Cornifer and you have all the pins and the map, make sure to look for any doorways that seem to go off into nothing. As I said, sometimes a single wall that can be broken can open up a whole new area for you, as there is no better reward than to face a hard challenge and being rewarded with the exact item you need, or maybe something you never expected. Lastly, make sure to have fun with this game. I know this game can be difficult sometimes, but as humans we should know, nothing worth it is ever really easy. There have been moments where I find myself wanting to rage quit when I can't get to a spot to save a grub, or this one boss seems to have my number. It's human nature just to rage at a boss and say, well, this is it, I'm done. I found I was down to my last health. I healed up 1 or 2 more health and came back and actually beat the boss. escaping the jaws of death to get that euphoric sense of victory. Once you get that, I want to jump out of my chair, couch, bed, and with a yelp of, "Yes, I finally did it!" You know that happy feeling this game brings. Make sure to enjoy this amazing piece of work. Thank you for tuning in to my tips and tricks video. If you liked this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you had any comments, please leave them below. Also, if you like more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It really helps out. And make sure to leave the bell icon on so that way you're notified when any new videos come out. If you'd like to contact me outside of YouTube, I'll leave my social contact information down below, and also the GAU channel that I am a part of will leave that contact as well. This is the Still Grizzly signing off, and hoping you all have the best of luck with your future gaming.